Facebook, you're just holding L after L after L after L. I'm calling it now. In a few years, it's going to be over for Facebook. Let's get into this.
Skip it up and that up.
So it seems that Facebook can't get out of the news for the wrong reasons. I always go back to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which that firm had access to over 87 million Facebook users' personal information, private information, and that was absolutely disastrous for Facebook. And they're still reeling from that to this day. And Facebook was hacked again in October of 2018, where 30 million users, their personal information was breached. So 87 million, Cambridge Analytica, 30 million with a hack. You're looking at over 100 million people having their information just out there because that's what they want. That's great for you, Facebook. Things are working out real well. Well, just when you think things couldn't get any worse for Facebook, there are court documents now saying that Facebook willingly and knowingly deceived kids so they make purchases in games that were on Facebook to rack up their parents' credit cards. And it was actually internally called friendly fraud. I'm not making this up. This is real. Now, because I don't want to screw anything up here, this information is coming directly from Vox. I'm going to read it to you and then we'll discuss because there's a lot of stuff going on here and I don't want to make any mistakes. So let's get into it. Court documents detailing how Facebook allowed and encouraged mobile games on its platform to take advantage of children will be made public. A federal judge ruled this month. The more than 135 pages of documents pertain to a class action lawsuit that was filed in California in 2012 and settled in 2016, resulting in refunds for purchases made by minors between 2008 and 2015. When Facebook received refund requests from the cardholders, it typically refused them. And yeah, that's what they did. So say your kid was playing Angry Birds and a microtransaction was in there, or Farmville that was popular back in the day. I even remember family members like my mother playing Farmville. And say a kid was playing it and they bought a whole bunch of crap and your credit card was on file. Sucks for you. They wouldn't give you your money back. And when employees raised concerns about what they considered a correctable problem, they were ignored. Other employees exchanged emails in which they refer to a high-spending children as whales, a casino term that refers to gamblers who throw around enormous amounts of cash. So think about that for a second. They knew these kids, probably without permission, were racking up their parents' credit cards, and they were like, cha-ching, just keep doing it. Let them do it. The parents try to get the money back. We ain't going to give it back to them. Wow. If this doesn't destroy Facebook, at least slowly, it won't happen overnight, I know that. I don't know what will. Now, Vox goes over the highlights of this report. I'll read those to you and then we'll discuss. Facebook employees use the term friendly fraud to refer to purchases made by children without their parents' knowledge and told game developers that allowing it would be a good idea to maximize revenue. Think about that. So your 10-year-old, what happens if they just got on your Facebook? Say you played one of those games with microtransactions and your kid snuck on your computer and maybe once in a while you bought a couple of them so you had your card on file and they spent $2,000 on whatever game. You couldn't get your money back and it wasn't even really your fault. There was no refunds and they discouraged refunds. They wanted to make sure they kept that revenue because, hey, it's more money. In its own surveys, Facebook learned that children didn't understand that they were spending real money or that their parents' credit cards were in any way attached to the games. So they're kids. They have no idea what they're doing. Okay? They could be 5 and they're like, ooh, I want, whatever cosmetic thing. They're 5 years old or 10 years old. They're not thinking. They're not thinking financially. They can't even wrap their minds around it. And so they just impulsively buy it. And they're not even sure they're buying anything. A lot of these kids probably wouldn't even have done it on purpose. A small group of Facebook employees came up with a way to reduce the problem by having users re-input the first 6 digits of their credit card to make in-game purchases. But the company squashed it. Again, to maximize revenue. Like, for example, I know with Google on my phone, if I go to the Google Play Store, if I haven't purchased something in a while, which usually I don't purchase anything on my phone, it'll ask for my credit card again because they want to make sure that I am making the purchase or that I want to really make the purchase. They were going to do the same thing on Facebook, but Facebook's like, nah, we just want the money. We want the money that we'll refuse to give it back to if they say it was an accidental purchase. Wow. An internal analysis of purchases from October 2010 to January 2011 found that children spent $3.6 million on games, but more than 9% of that revenue had to be pulled back by credit card companies themselves after Facebook denied direct refunds. The Reveal report notes that a 1% chargeback rate is considered high by most standards, and that the FTC has referred to a 2% chargeback rate as a red flag for a deceptive business. So think about that. 1% is considered high by the Federal Trade Commission. 2% is deceptive business, that the company is being shady. Facebook was at 9%. 9 times higher, roundabout. Bad at math, but you get my point. It's over. It's over for Facebook. And last but not least, even knowing all of this, Facebook suggested to game developers that refund requests be met with virtual goods instead of money. What can Facebook say at this point? They were how much more damning can you get? Unless they were found funding some rogue government somewhere. They were willingly, knowingly, with internal documents, defrauding children. They were taking advantage of them. They knew that kids are impulsive. They knew that kids would just, buy. And they were like, hey, it's an extra revenue stream. And if they try to get their money back, we just won't let them. Or we'll give them like free virtual crap in the game so we get to keep the revenue. It was called friendly fraud. They knew that they were defrauding kids. They were ripping people off, hoping that kids would go on the accounts and the card would be there. And they even thought of preventative measures and they didn't implement them because they wanted more revenue. It was there. It was said. Beyond all this too, this is the beginning of the end for Facebook. Now the end could come 5 years from now. The end could come 2 years from now. The end could come 6 years. I don't know. But I think a lot of people expected Facebook just to always be there. How with stuff like this can they keep going? With Cambridge Analytica, with them getting hacked and everyone's personal information, it seems like almost like a yearly thing now that it's happening. How much more can they take? And the thing is too, is Facebook's not cool anymore. Beyond, even if none of this happened, Facebook is, I swear it's the last time I'm going to use it, Facebook is considered the boomer site. Okay? You know, Facebook is where your grandma goes on, where I'm considered an old fart now compared to like the Snapchat kids and all that, where I'm on there. It's even considered like more boomer than Twitter. Okay? So it doesn't have the cool hip factor anymore. It's like when Facebook, like back when like my tail end of college is when Facebook, when it was called The Facebook, it was starting to come up. I didn't get on Facebook till 2008, but everyone was on MySpace. Okay, back in the early 2000s, there was MySpace, and then you had Tom. Everyone was friends with Tom. That was really weird. Like, why did you have to be friends with the founder of the company? But whatever. But then Facebook was kind of cool. It was like, oh, the college kids are on there. You had to even have a college ID, I believe, to actually get on there. And it was considered trendy, and it was considered kind of like what Snapchat is now. But now Facebook's like where your grandma goes on, where Auntie May goes on. And the thing is, too, is a lot of parents don't want kids on Facebook because there's a lot of shady crap that goes on there because it's just so big that parents kind of were like, no, don't go on Facebook. So a lot of those kids that would have went on Facebook that are like in their teens now went to Snapchat and even Instagram, which I know Facebook owns, so on and so forth. They're on different social media platforms. So Facebook isn't growing at the rate that it used to. It may not even be growing at all. So it's considered kind of cliche now. It's considered kind of irrelevant. And so it's not growing at the pace that it used to. And you have things like this happen that hurt its reputation. That's the perfect storm to start up the ticking time bomb for Facebook to implode. I don't know how it could survive this. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm not saying, oh, a year from now Facebook will be gone. That would be stupid. It's not realistic. There's too many people on it. But if there's another big scandal at this level, I'm just TikTok. It's a matter of time. Especially now with so many other social media options out there. Why the hell would people just stick to Facebook? This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.
Hey, congratulations! If you made it to the end of the video, you should subscribe to Review Tech USA so you can hear me blabber on some more. Also, too, starting this month, I will be live streaming solely on Twitch. I'll have a link to my Twitch channel below in the description. And last but not least, make sure you click that like button. It helps out the show big time. See you guys in the next video.